Hi, everyone. Hopefully you all can see my screen. My name is Kelsey Satellino. I'm the Digital Communications Coordinator for the National Integrated Drought Information System, or NITIS, and I want to take the next few minutes to show you the newly redesigned US Drought Portal, or drought.gov. We launched a redesign of the website in January, and as Joel mentioned earlier, we think this website will help with NITIS's mission of taking a more proactive approach to managing drought conditions and impacts. The new Drought Portal features updated content and new interactive maps designed to provide actionable, shareable information and graphics describing current drought conditions, forecasts, impacts, and planning resources. So over the next few minutes, I want to show you a few of the key new features of the redesigned website and how it can be useful for looking at drought in the Southwest. And you'll notice a lot of the same maps from Peter's presentation are kind of integrated into this site. So the first new feature of drought.gov I want to highlight for you is the ability to view drought conditions at a much higher resolution. So either on our homepage or through the by location section of our menu, you can enter your city, zip code, or county and be immediately taken to a page that has up-to-date drought information down to the city or county level. The maps and graphs on these pages are interactive and they're updated automatically, giving you this very high resolution drought information. So this is the city page for Salt Lake City, Utah, as an example. These pages contain current conditions, key indicators of drought, drought blends, future conditions and outlooks, and historical conditions down to the county level, which I'm going to talk about more in just a moment. So I'll come back to that. The maps on these pages are interactive. You can zoom in or out, switch between different timescales, and click on a county to jump to a different county's drought information. I'll quickly show you an example of drought information at the county level that you can view on drought.gov. We've tried to make it really easy to view the information that you need at whatever geographic scale that you're working with. So the county level pages on drought.gov contain a lot of the same information as the city level pages, but with a few key additions. You'll notice throughout the website, we've got these blue boxes with quick statistics showing not only drought conditions at a high level, but how those conditions compare to past conditions. So Peter mentioned the National Centers for Environmental Information's Climate at a Glance rankings. And on that map, Utah had the most dry year in the last 126 years in 2020. So on this page, you can see that same information pulled in at the county level. This is updated for 2021. So 2021 so far is the 35th driest year to date for Salt Lake County specifically. In addition, these county level pages also contain maps showing the impacts of drought on different economic sectors, such as agriculture and water supply. This map, for example, contains US Geological Survey streamflow conditions. And in addition to interacting with the map in general, you can also click on a particular stream gauge to jump to the US Geological Survey's website with more information for that stream gauge. So it's just one example of how we've tried to make this information really interactive and accessible. We also have maps showing the impacts of drought on public health, including National Weather Service heat warnings, as well as the CDC's Social Vulnerability Index, which uses census variables to help local officials identify communities that may need support in preparing for or recovering from hazards like drought. So I'm going to jump up to show you just one more example of the pages in our by location section to show you a state level page. Now we have these pages for all of the US states, as well as some US territories. These pages contain current and previous US drought monitor conditions, historical conditions at the state level, upcoming events relevant to that state, including webinars like this one, related documents, and a curated list of web resources. Now these state level resources not only include links to key regional partners like the USDA climate hubs and regional climate centers, and National Weather Service weather forecast offices, but also state level drought planning resources, state drought task force and agencies, and other key resources at the state level. I just gave you kind of a brief whirlwind tour of our by location section, but we have a lot of other geographic scales available too. For example, you can view drought data maps and tools by drought early warning system region or DEWS region, as well as at the watershed, tribal, national, and international scales. The goal is to make it easy to view drought conditions for whatever geographical region that you're working with. The second key new feature of drought.gov that I want to highlight for you are the interactive data and maps and new ways of displaying that information that allow you to easily visualize and share drought information. You can view national data and maps by topic here, from snow drought to agriculture to water supply and more. I want to briefly show you our historical data and conditions page as an example. One of the biggest questions we get is, how does current drought conditions compare to historical conditions for my region? Our historical data and conditions page contains a fully interactive graph, map, and legend with updating statistics on drought conditions, comparing 3 different historical drought data sets side by side. So we have US Drought Monitor data going back to the year 2000, a 9-month standardized precipitation index, or SPI, from the National Centers for Environmental Information going back to 1895. And also from NCEI, we have paleoclimate data from the Living Blended Drought product, which combines tree ring reconstructions with instrumental data to estimate the drought values each summer, going back to the year 0 for some regions of the US. You can easily zoom in to view a specific time period in more detail, move the cursor to select a specific time range, and then click on a state to load that state's historical information, and the graph, the statistics, and the map will all update automatically. You can even dive down to the county level to view drought information, which can be really useful for drought planning. Once you've found what you need, it's easy to learn more about the data or to download a screenshot of the map for easy sharing. And these download screenshot links are present throughout the website to make it really easy to share the data and maps from drought.gov. The final thing I want to show you is our brand new by sector section, which shows drought impacts on different sectors of the economy. These pages serve as a landing page for not only people who work within these economic sectors, but those who work closely with them. Each page contains a featured map or maps, as well as some key statistics. So for example, on our agriculture sector page, we are showing crop and livestock information from the USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service, overlaid on top of the current US Drought Monitor, as well as some key statistics on crops and livestock in drought, as well as USDA drought disaster declarations. Each of these sector pages contains a brief overview of key issues related to drought and that sector, a more in-depth background on drought's impacts on that sector, and a curated list of resources for drought early warning for that sector to, again, like Joel said, help us take a more proactive approach to planning for and mitigating the impacts of drought. Overall, whether you want to explore drought information by topic, by economic sector, or by geographic scale down to the city or county level, we've designed the new drought.gov to help you easily find and share the information you need to help your community better prepare for and mitigate the impacts of drought. You can explore it for yourself at www.drought.gov, and you can email us at drought.portal@noaa.gov with any questions or feedback about the website. We would love to hear from you. Thank you, and with that, I will stop sharing my screen. If I can.
Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you, Peter. Those were great. We have a few questions coming in through the chat box or the question box, and that's just a reminder for anyone who has questions, send those through the question box and we'll try to get through them before the half hour. This first question is for Peter. What are the odds of a double dip La Nina?
That's largely uncertain at this point, but it's an important question because double dip La Nina years have not been kind to the Southwest in recent years. So 2012 was a double dip La Nina, as was 2018, I believe, and those were both poor snowpack years. Double dip La Ninas tend to favor wetter conditions in the northwest and northeast corners of the US, but drier elsewhere. The ensembles that I've seen for the coming months tend to show this La Nina fading out throughout the remainder of the spring and summer and kind of trending into the neutral territory. But then once you get into next winter, there's a lot of uncertainty as to whether we bounce straight into an El Nino or double dip. So wish I had a less wishy-washy answer there.
Thanks, Peter. We have a few folks asking about this, and this might be more of a Joel question, but they're enjoying the speedy input of information, but they're wondering if there might be another opportunity for a more in-depth overview of the topics covered, either as a website or another educational opportunity.
Sorry, I was muted. Well, I think that certainly is an option. Kelsey put together a YouTube video that you can watch. Kelsey, is that just on the NIDIS YouTube channel?
It is, and I'll link to it in the chat, and I'll also put a link to our drought.gov feedback email. So if you have questions about the new website or any features within it, or technical questions, or just general feedback, or want to learn more about it, we encourage you to reach out to that drought.portal@noaa.gov email. So I'll include both the link to the demo that I've made on our YouTube channel, as well as that email, and we can follow up with you for more information.
Sure, and I think that if there's a need for a large group to get a more in-depth dive for this, that's something that we could probably set up on a case-by-case basis. Is that right, Kelsey?
Yes, it is. And if you reach out to that Drought Portal email, that's something that we can talk about if we want to do that on a case-by-case basis.
Great, thanks.
Great, thanks, y'all. And we have one last question, which will be great to hand over to Joel to wrap up this webinar, but will links be provided to the graphics with the webinar recap? And maybe this is a great time to share what else can be shared in the updates and upcoming events. So I'll hand it over to you, Joel. Thank you.
Great, thanks for that, Maud. And so Peter showed quite a few links through his presentation. Peter, if you share that with me in an email, I can put that on the webinar recap on drought.gov. So that's where you'd be able to find that. I'd like to thank, first of all, our expert presenters, Peter Goebel from the Colorado Climate Center and Kelsey Sadolino from NIDIS. Thank you for taking your time and sharing your expertise with us. And also thanks to Maud for directing the questions. And thank you to all of you for joining. Our next webinar, our quick drought briefing, this half-hour drought briefing, is scheduled for Friday, the 12th of March at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and I hope to see you all then. Be looking out for an email with the registration link. That should be coming out in about a week or two. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.